There's a lot of stuff that happens real quick. I'm gonna do my best to explain everything. Timing starts a little weird. It's like every game I play, it's like the first input, so normally count down from the start, actually. Alright. Cool. So I'm gonna just start it up. Alright, so 3, 2, 1, and time. Alright, so first we're gonna start off by grabbing this pedal, kill this thing. Now you want to actually take as much damage as we can with the boy. The game starts off where this boy and his dog, and we get kind of teleported from our home village, but we can actually, by having a save file created already and then pressing start for new game, we can skip all that. So this is actually an amazing start. Normally a lot of resets happen early on here. There's a cutscene that happens where upon entering that screen, you talk to the dog, you get a weird feeling, and then some raptors come out. And you can either fight the raptors or kill the raptor, or die to the raptors. So by killing ourselves and then having the dog into the trigger, switching to the dog as the boy is dead, it immediately skips the cutscene. So we're going to grab some ingredients here to fight the first boss of the game. There's a little skip here. By giving an input to the one character and then switching to the other character, the inactive character has an opportunity to cross or to continue carrying out that movement. So he's able to get over the trigger, otherwise we would have to go and talk to Fire Eyes. It causes a big long cutscene. We don't want that. So now we're gonna go to the shop here. And this guy, we acquired just enough currency to buy one item here. And by buying one item, this guy will give us the Ringer Jaguar, which allows us to run, makes us very fast. This is also good RNG. This guy gives you a few patterns, and he can walk all over the place. 95% of the time, he does not come down. So this is going really good so far. This is actually an insanely good pace, and you'd see a lot of people reset over and over and over again for a pace like this, so that's pretty nice. Start. So we'll be walking with the dog, or running down with the dog a lot in the start here, because Act 1 dog is actually faster. It's on horizontal, so that's not good. So there's an ingredient there, and we can tell the game that we picked it up with the dog, even though the dog didn't pick it up. And by doing so, it manipulates that clay on the right side there to become 3 instead of 1. Or 2. And yes, Jeremy Soul is the guy who did all the Skyrim. So this guy is going to give us Hardball, our first spell, which we're going to be using to break the game and beat a lot of bad guys early on. Grab an additional clay and make our way to the first dungeon or lair. The way movement works in this game, by sprinting, so actually I want to explain this. So there's these triggers here that we can, similarly to the skip that we did in the village, we can just attack with the dog, switch to the other character, and then switch back as the dog is on the trigger, and skip the plates. Those bridges would collapse normally. By having the dog far enough off screen, and then switching, there's 2 ways to menu, so you can menu with X and menu with Y. By menuing with X, it allows you to menu to the other character, and if the character is far off enough, it will actually allow you to clip through things momentarily. I'm going to be setting up probably the most difficult glitch in the game here. So going to skip the intro to the boss by getting the boy in this trigger, getting the dog in the trigger to enter the chamber, and then switching to the boy. So it will walk us left instead of straight up into the cutscene, and then we can attack and skip through it. This is very scary. So there's an outro skip here that I could perform, but I'm gonna just opt out of skipping it because this is not looking so great, unfortunately. and we're dead. That's not good. So, another reset. So, I'm gonna take this time to explain a few things. So, what happened is, by menuing with the boy rather than the dog, we are able to skip through some stuff here. We're able to multicast, or cast 8 spells rather than 2. Normally, if you've ever played this game before, normally you're only able to cast 2 spells at a time with the given character. But if you are the other character, as you are using alchemy, for whatever reason the game allows you to do multiple casts. And you can also cast animation spells as well, which we'll see a little bit later. Let's make our way back here. A little unfortunate on the rolls, but it's not that big of a deal. We get to perform the hardest part of the game again. Yay! So for the movement, the dog moves fastest sprinting up and down. The boy moves fastest moving left and right at all times. So you want to reduce his up and down movement as much as possible, or vertical movement, something like that. Oh, I missed the intro skip. It was on the pixel, I didn't notice. It's fine. Get some additional experience. So this is what normally happens. Oops. Gotta make sure we target the heart. Oh no. So another thing that's going on here is by using or having the boy as the active character here, or as the boy is about to take the damage and switching to the dog right before the damage roll happens, so the damage spot will happen, and we switch to the boy, or the dog rather, sorry, from the boy as he's dying, and it'll actually cause him to be in a state, excuse me, it'll cause him to be in a state where he's technically dead but not dead. So he'll be at 0 HP, we call it Zombie Boy, and he can just move around. In a task setting, we would actually do that really early on. It's possible to skip like the little intro thing there in the village, but it's not very viable in RTA. So now we're going to make our way over here to the guy who gives us our second ingredient spell, or technically our third, because we skipped the first one completely. I remember using it a lot as a kid. It is pretty useless, costs a lot in ingredients. We gotta remenu because we loaded a save. Yeah, definitely does. So we want to. I should have done that later. So we want to do some casts before making our way to the next boss. We're gonna do 7 specifically, and the reason that we do that is because the boss, we won't be strong enough to kill him if we don't level up our spell. So we give it just enough that our alchemy spell will level up during the fight. So what I did there is, by doing a frame perfect character switch with the dog and the trigger, it allows us to do this kind of weird movement. And yeah, we just enter the hut through the top instead of summoning fire eyes out of the village. It's a little slow. Have to talk to the guard as well. she's gonna basically tell us a little bit of backstory. She's also from the village that we are trying to get back to, and a little bit confused about the situation. Gives us a little bit of insight on how we can possibly make our way back. Gives us some call beads, which are going to be extremely useful for this next boss. And now we're going to make our way to the next spell, Defend, which is going to give us some game-breaking properties later on. So the way sprinting works is, the reason we mash, in a perfect setting, technically, you would press, you'd press the sprint button on frame 1, hold for 3 frames, release on 4, or repress on 4, or hold for 3 frames, release on 4, then repress on the next frame or something like that. But obviously, it's not possible to do that completely accurate, so just kind of mash it up. So, as you saw there, we were able to just skip through these rocks. It works in the same way that we can skip through the maggot. There is a guy that spawns there normally, but he has a chance to not spawn. However, it's a little risky to just go through him, so. Yeah. Well. Try to take the little additional experience there. So there's a little glitch here that we would normally do in like a PB attempt or so, or that we could do, but then we want to get the save, so I want to do that because this guy can be pretty mean. So yeah, that menu skip to get through the rock is actually pretty game breaking. If you ever played this game casually as a kid, you probably remember going up this big volcano and stuff, and it is not a pretty sight. It's a lot of death, a lot of raptors, and things can get pretty hairy real quick. So now we're at the second boss of the game, Magmar, the original Pokemon. Because yes, this game did come out before Pokemon. This guy is very mean. So pray. So we want to just do a bunch of 8 casts on him. Gave us a good pattern. He can spawn to the right, which is not good. Whoops. It's looking pretty good. And because Hard Ball is not an animation spell, we can also cast Lightning Storm, which is extremely useful because we need to stack the damage. Nice. First try kill. So that's really good. And then he casts Heat Wave. He has the chance to cast Heat Wave on, well, pretty much any given turn. So we want him to cast it after he's already dead, because he's always going to cast Heat Wave. That's Act 1. Cool. A lot of things like to explode in this game as well, which makes it epic. I forgot to mention, but the reason I set the, well, I don't really know if the boy being on screen actually affects anything, but if I were have to run right or left, then I'd probably, you'd see me like kind of position the screen in the middle a little bit, and just run up with the dog so that it gives you a little less scroll frames. Saving frames, well. So now we're gonna have the best game, or best song in the game that we're not gonna hear at all. Because it's on this one screen and we pass through it very quickly. one of my favorites, personally. Oof. So we're gonna have to do another frame perfect character switch here. Since I'm a madman, I'm gonna try to do it bufferless. Didn't get it. There we go. So by having the dog, or the boy, in the... So the dog is actually technically always on screen, whether he's in our party or not. On this particular screen, thankfully and luckily, we are able to draw him in. And the reason that's so important is because we want to make our way to the market as soon as possible. So by doing a frame perfect character switch and bringing the screen up a little bit, we're actually able to call the dog into the game early and then perform another character leash to bring the boy over the trigger there, which is very useful. So we're gonna get another spell, Atlas here, which we're gonna use on side of defending a little bit. So you saw me zip through the desert there. There's no real easy explanation as to why it works. I've asked the taskman. The only real explanation that we have is event triggers. So we need to buy wings. They're gonna give us some game-breaking abilities later on here for a pretty big skip coming up. Doing things. So now we have to actually do the same skip on our way back here. It's quite a bit more finicky, unfortunately, but hopefully we get it pretty quick. The other way is not that precise at all, but we got first try, so nice. That one you kind of have to do it in a pretty particular way, however. So this is the cutscene that we would normally get if we didn't skip over that ditch. But the reason we wanted to skip over the ditch is because by entering the market, there's an in-game timer. And the only way to start the timer is by entering the market. And we need the timer to run out in order to progress through the game. And we're going to use this time, this in-game time, to perform some game-breaking glitches. So it's pretty useful. Good old buddy Blimp here, he's gonna give us a spell. We actually need the spell because unfortunately we can't beat the rest of the game without it. Take a save. And now glitches and fun stuff. What we want to happen is get poisoned. So hopefully Mr. Spooter here is nice to us. This is another Bless RNG moment. This whole game is Bless RNG actually, matter of fact, so just Bless RNG. We got poisoned super fast though, so that's really good. Now Mr. Monk needs to confound us, and this is the tricky part. Oh, no, didn't get confound. Alright, so now we gotta try again. It's like I think it's a 1 in 8 chance to get poisoned, or no. Wait, no, that may be right. It's like 1 in 8 to get poisoned, and then also like 1 in 8 to get confound, so whatever those odds are. Oh, it got poisoned again. Alright, that's really good. At least we get another shot at it. Ideally, oh, alright, so we got plagued. That's okay. That works. It's a little bit sketchier than being confounded, but it'll get the job done, hopefully. So what's happening right now is our stats are being rolled back. Okay. Alright, this will be good. Our stats are being rolled back, and with all these properties casted on us at once, it will, here, I'm gonna do this, especially because it's best to just check. Alright, yeah. So our stats are being rolled back, and with all the properties on at once, the game gets a little bit confused, and it causes you to underflow. The pixie dust revives us, and it helps us keep that state where we are able to get really high damage and also kind of invulnerable. The only thing that can really hurt us now is status effects. So like sitting here in the desert will deplete our HP slowly. Another thing, like sitting in corrosion, so like in the sewers later on or whatever, will also deplete our status, our health. But now we just want to grind out some levels. We need some money to get ingredients to cast spells with. It's Atlas and Defend are a little difficult to explain, but basically just the poison rolls back your stats. We die far enough away from a poison tick so that our stats aren't too high, because if we were to do it immediately after taking poison damage, what would actually happen is our stat would be too high, and eventually after killing stuff it would overflow again. Or if you did it immediately after, it wouldn't give it enough time for the stat to underflow. So I'm gonna grind for just a little bit here, and then we're gonna buy some ingredients, make our way back. If you got any donations or announcements, now is an amazing time. Make sure to check out the incentives, get your donations in, help bring them over, and roll deep.
Yeah, just to bring up those incentives, the next one coming up, we've got a bid war in Mega Man 7 between the normal Shade Man theme or the Ghost and Goblins theme. Right now, the original is ahead $20 to $5, so if you have a preference on which track you want to hear, get your money in for that. We also have a Mega Man X incentive to change the category from any percent to 100%.
Ooh.
We are currently at $225 out of the $250 needed to make that 100% run. So get your money in for that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely Hundo is an amazing character category, and the runners are also excellent. Definitely vote, get your donations in for that. That's gonna be fun. So we only need a few more levels here, actually. We're probably good, but the only thing is we want more hit chance. So you see me miss there, and then also not hit 9999. That's because I got a miss and then a crit. The only time that we're not gonna hit for 9999 damage is a lot of crits. Is if we crit or miss. So technically the higher your level is, the better, because you'll have a higher hit chance, but you don't want to sit here and grind all day either. I'll take like one more level, and then I'm gonna grab some ingredients. And the reason, and then I'm gonna do some spell casting as well. And the reason is because we need to level up our crush spell anyways. And I actually more recently changed this. I used to do it in spots that would have like almost an instant screen transition where I could just use the dog conveniently anyways. But it messes with your movement a little bit, and also it calls for pausing the menu, which you have to do anyways. And during this grind, the only thing that really loses time or pauses the market timer is a menu, a dialogue box that has an option, so like yes, no, or buying ingredients, or screen transition. So we want to minimize those as much as possible. But because we need to cast the spells anyways, we're just do it in the market timer. And one of the old boy runners, Croak actually, I guess he started doing that not too long ago or a while ago, and found that it was actually a little bit faster because you're saving time. I'm just trying to not mess this up. I don't need that many. Wait. Might as well save. No, that would have been bad. Alright, so saving is actually bad, but it doesn't really matter. There's gonna be, like, no saving for the rest of this. Alright, so I'm just gonna kill these guys. So, in order to do that, though, I want to do a frame-perfect character switch now, because I don't want to open up the menu. I got it first try. It's nice. Get these multicasts in. Whoops. I'm gonna do 13 exactly. And the reason is it's gonna level our spell up just enough so that the only boss that we have to kill left with magic is he should die and the amount of casts that we're gonna use every time. So yeah, the lag or any lag frames, all that stuff does not matter. And also typically where I would cast it as running around, I've noticed there's quite a few lag frames regardless of where you do it because of all the enemies on screen. But it doesn't matter there. So we're gonna bother this chicken for fun. We got some time. And he gets mad. Hey, you. Yes, you. Bam! Don't taunt the chickens. Taunt the goats if you want, but leave the chickens alone. So Chicken God was bothered. So I'm gonna leave the chickens alone now. We gotta wait for market to end. Should be in about 2 minutes. Or a minute. Right? Like 2 minutes. Something like that. If you want to make any more announcements? No, because
yeah, sure. We are currently watching Bring 'em Over 3, an online marathon aimed to bring speedrunners Becco, Ohan, and Prissy to AGDQ 2020. Becco and Ohan, expert speedrunners from Japan, and Prissy, a top-tier speedrunner from Germany. All three of those guys are going to be participating in the Mega Man 4-6 relay coming up at AGDQ 2020.
So definitely get that money rolling. Get these people over to the greatest event, the greatest people, lots of fun. Also, there isn't really I'll just mention this now. I'm just taking a little time. There isn't really a Discord or anything, or like even really a huge community for this game. But if you are interested, well, actually, my buddy, the task guy or Panda, who did help contribute quite a bit to this game. He's got a little community, but it's not like official or anything. But yeah, if you're interested in this game, just let me know, and be more than happy to help. Some guides and stuff on SRC. Definitely check that out as well. Sup, Sliver? Thank you. Timer should be ending here soon. One thing that I'd like to mention is, so there, you probably saw me run up a little bit. There's a way to enter this next screen up top there, and this is like our first instance of cutscene RNG, because yes, this game has cutscene RNG. So by entering through this way, it will actually you give us the option, two options, either the slowest cutscene RNG or the fastest. By walking up top, it gives you like the middle every single time. But you know, I mean, we're already gambling with RNG playing this game as it is, so might as well just go this way. So normally it doesn't. You don't really get a Atlas glitch this fast, but this is like the only bathroom break that you really get in the game. So getting it fast is actually usually a pretty good thing. Fortunately, there's no known way to speed the timer up. Although the idea has been loosely messed with, and one of our good friends, Voltus, has somehow managed to, I guess, reduce the timer, but isn't sure how. So it is possible that's a market timer skip could be a thing in the future. And if you know how to do it, please let me know, because that would be awesome. Alright, so we got the good cutscene RNG. The bad one would be he'd walk all the way down, and then the screen has to go down, and then scroll all the way up, and it loses like 7 seconds, so it's not like detrimental or anything, but it's not the best thing in the world either. So we found our dog, or as this guy likes to call it, the sacred dog. The sacred dog has chosen us. Tiny is like, alright, you wait out here, I'm gonna fight you soon, because the sacred dog has chosen us. This guy comes in, he's like, greetings. I'm like, hi, bring him over 3. Give me some money. And he's like, no thank you, but you can save your game if you want. I'm like, nah, I don't really want to save my game, because if I save my game and I reload the state, then Atlas glitch will be gone. So that's no. It's a big oops. Don't do that. I'm gonna put the dog in hopefully a somewhat good position here, and there. Alright, so that wasn't too bad. Try to just position the camera real well, and the guy is as good as you can, so that reduces the movement. I'm gonna try to do that in a few spots. The dog walking is like the slowest thing ever, so if the dog is far away from a trigger that we need to call him into play, it's usually a pretty bad thing. If he's off screen, it will take several seconds actually for him to be called on to screen, and we usually walk in from out of bounds somewhere. So this is our next boss. This guy can be a little bit scary actually. What we want to do is just run up behind him and show him what's up. He's gonna try to flex on us, so can't let that happen. Oh yeah, we got crit. I missed the first shot. Alright, that's not good. I always this is the one fight I've been messing up like every time lately. I think I attacked a little too late, but that's all good. So yeah, we flexed on him instead. And this guy's like, oh, bring him over 3 is victorious. Congratulations. Oh yeah, now we got the sword. Thanks, but where are we? What are we doing? Blah, 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 blah. Mash, 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 mash. So the nice part about this game is you can actually use all 4 buttons, including start to mash text. So it's not like super strenuous. Still a lot of mashing going on, of course, but yeah, it's alright. Not too bad. This guy's like talking to his wall because he's crazy, obviously. Evil man. And then we're gonna make our way over to this next section here. I don't actually remember if I think that Pomonius or whatever, the other evil guy there that gave us the sword, I think he kind of alludes to getting to go this way. I can't fully remember. So we can do reverse desert skip much easier now since we have the dog. By leaving the dog up top there, if we miss it, we can actually just go below where the trigger is and switch the dog and run up, and for whatever reason, it teleports us across the screen. That's pretty sweet. So there's a lot of very difficult and scary stuff coming up here, so try my best to not botch it too badly and hopefully do a decent job of explaining what's going on. And so, as I stated earlier, how moving in diagonal, or moving left and right, is fastest to the boy. That's why we're going to try to move diagonally as much as possible to reduce the up and down, like the straight movement. Falling into those ditches is really bad. Falling into any ditch here in this game is actually pretty bad. Those are the worst. Technically, I mean, this one could be the worst. And then we fell. So that's pretty bad, actually. To be safe, we're gonna do this, because otherwise you could lure the boy out there, but if he steps into the trigger, it will soft lock the game. But I actually got an extra wing, so it's fine. So yeah, I would normally do my cast there, and if I didn't have to kill that dancing fool. Fortunately, I didn't. What? So apparently hitting switches is also optional in this game. That's cool. There's just a lot of tight movement here, and a lot of RNG. This is one of the biggest run killers in this game. There's a lot of skips that actually rely purely on RNG. Especially a newer one that was recently say recently very loosely. It's like a year ago or so it was implemented. And this is one of the first ones. We can actually lock the boy here in place, but I'm just gonna try to do it like this because I'm a boss. Alright, we got lucky. So if that rat comes into play there, like if he walks over to the side or whatever, then things can get a little scary, hairy. The wings here, what they do is they teleport us out, and we do need it a little bit later on for some big skips coming up, but we also wanted to just leave this dungeon real fast. So this is the big skip I was kind of talking about. It saves seconds, but it's kind of important. We want the boy to go over this trigger, please. Okay, good. And we're gonna leave the dog there. Normally what we would do is wing out and have to run back up and stuff, but it's much slower to actually just leave the room. We have to also re-enter the room because this game had a lot of things that cause crashes have to do with the sound or something of the sort, and essentially what happens is a giant sound glitch and it causes the game to crash. So we have to actually re-enter this room to reload the sound of the dungeon, and then we can progress. If we were to just go up, then the game would start making some crazy noises and bad things would happen. And yes, he's been a good boy so far. So I found a new strat a while back that saves like frames. I think the best I've gotten is like I save like 20 frames there. But by attacking down, you can actually lock him into place if you're in the right spot, instead of having to hit him up and then run up a little bit. So we're gonna make our way to I guess, the second hardest dungeon of the game here. The pyramids. And there's a lot of really tight... This is more execution heavy, I'd say, but also a lot of RNG going on as well. So that bridge is actually pretty scary. If I were to have fallen in any of those ditches, I'd be sitting there in a minute-long cutscene. I think it's a little bit more than a minute, actually. I want to position that dog there real close for a frame-perfect character switch. And another thing that I would like to mention is the character status. You saw me switch the boy earlier when doing the maggot skip to a aggressive and the dog to defensive status, and we would normally switch it back to make some skips easier a little bit earlier on, actually, but now we keep them in this state so that we can perform some of the skips, like the one that I did in runes earlier, that actually allowed us to save the wings. And since I'm doing any percent, it's that's really bad, or unlucky rather. I say really bad, like loosely. So yeah, we want, by doing a frame perfect character switch there, what would normally happen is we'd have to switch and then switch back, but we can just continue to move as the boy by doing a frame perfect character switch instead. We're gonna try to do another one here. This one's a little bit more important, but not like crucial. And that way we can bring the dog down, right? These guys can cast a really slow spell. That takes time, and I'm actually kind of surprised they didn't do it. And pretty much everything in this game can block you. Just block you, and block you, and block you, and then drop a prize after you kill him finally. Okay, so this is like a super optimal skip that actually just saved like 6 or 3 seconds because I got both of them first try, but that's very rare. And that can also lose you a lot of time if you don't get it, so that's kind of cool. Got blocked by both those guys here. It's all good though. So we can actually move the dog into place a little bit after hitting that switch. So another big sequence break coming up here. We normally have to wait. This guy would run all over the place, but by doing the menu, like we did on Magmar, I forgot to explain that actually. By doing that menu and closing it, it causes it allows us to move around during the cutscene, whereas rather we would have to actually wait for him to run around and then get back into his spot, and then we could finally attack him. Oof, so I made that ditch. That was pretty close though. So this is probably the scariest skip in the game. It's RNG reliant. This is the new tech too, where we want the boy to go straight over. Oh my god, I was like a pixel away from being on a trigger. That was the scariest thing ever. My heart just dropped. That would have cost me like 3 minutes if I was in the trigger. Yeah, the boy can just walk back like that, and that makes it really scary. But we need the spider on screen so that the boy, because the boy's in an aggressive state, so he has the ability to just walk all over the place, and we want him to go up and over the trigger. What we would normally do is switch the dog to defensive so that we can actually leash him over that trigger again, and the boy to defensive so that he'll stay in place, and then leash the dog like we did earlier in the village. But it's a little bit slow. Getting that first try is actually extremely fast. And back to the market. Oh yeah. So for Magmar, sequence break. Why I did it during Magmar actually is because of the heat wave. We wanted to cast heat wave the last turn. It works off of a damage threshold, so by negating that, oof, it. Was too early. Way too early. I kinda had a feeling. So I tried to do a super free, easy skip that seems like 2 seconds. But I just lost time because I wasn't really focused enough, I guess. But by walking the dog to that trigger there and causing an explosion, we can actually move around with the dog. And the dog walked real slow, so we just put him up top there by where the bridge came down. And it saves a little bit of time from him walking up at the end here that you'll see. It's not like super big or anything, but it's typically pretty free. The window is actually pretty large too, so if I had just waited like half a second, that would have been good. The next section here is, it's kind of like just like a maze. Got this cutscene coming up, and gonna navigate my way back that way. If you want to, if you have any announcements, now's not a bad time.
Just bring up the incentives we got coming up here. The Mega Man 7 bid war between Shade Man and the Ghost and Goblins theme. We've got Shade Man original music in the lead with $20. The alternate Ghost and Goblins theme is just right behind it with $5. We've also got the Mega Man X incentive to get the run up from any percent to 100%. We're currently at $225 out of the $250 needed, so just $25 more to bump that run up to 100%. And we also have a donation incentive for Super Mario Galaxy coming up a little bit later today. For $50, we can watch the runner clear the perfect run, which is a really cool kind of final stage of that game. So we need $50 for that. So those are some incentives you can give some money to if you want to see any of those.
So yeah, one thing that I guess I kind of forgot to mention, it's not too late anyways, but is the spear. You'll see me switch to the spear. You saw me switch to the spear earlier after I used the axe, because I needed to use the axe in the pyramids there for a little bit, but you'll actually see me switch back to the spear in a few spots. And the reason is because the spear is the fastest form of movement. For whatever reason, the spear gives the boy a little bit more mobility. I also you also saw me go up and move the lift thing there over that bridge over, and the reason is because we had to backtrack like this. So this is a very confusing spot casually. I'm sure if you ever played this game, you probably got lost here. But we know exactly where to go, so it's no big deal. We want to try to bring the dog as close as possible because, like I mentioned, he's pretty slow, just moving. If he has to walk, it takes a lot of time. So we want him to just be able to run everywhere we go, so try to wait for him to get as close as possible. Like that, by walking down and lowering him over. So we need the dog here to do some multicasts, and this is Aquagoth. Can be real mean. We're gonna do 7 instead of 8, because otherwise it'll soft like a game. And it won't always, but there's a good chance. We're actually getting really good, aren't you? Actually, I just really wanted to focus for that, because that would have been bad. But if he casts a spell, which he has a kind of, I feel like the rate is pretty high for him to cast a spell. He didn't cast any spells though, which is really good. The guy spawned on screen, which is unfortunate because it produces a lot of lag. But it allows us to move around a little bit, so do this, scroll the screen up a little bit. And we can just sit in position here. And that's Act 3, or 2. Act 3, whoops. Now we're in Act 3. It's pretty good Act 2, actually. It wasn't too bad. This guy's just bringing us up in a while, and we're like, oh, you know what? We need our dog though. Where is he? He's like, oh, dog, sure thing. Just put the bucket down. Bring the bucket up. The bucket never makes its way all the way up. We just kind of fly up. Oh my god, what happened to our poodle? He's different now. Reoccurring theme. Dog changes, you know, throughout each part. Whoops. To back on that. But his poodle. A fine poodle he is too. Indeed. Pink poodle. So poodle dog is like the most useless dog. We don't need poodle dog for anything. So we're not going to be using him very often. Just hopefully he doesn't troll us. That's about it. You saw me buy some stuff at the end there at the market in Nobilia during Act 2 after I perform Atlas Glitch. Reason is that I walk too high. So we can actually walk around this and it's super free and saves a few seconds, but we can skip that dialogue there and just talk to him, give him our thing. I walked a little bit too high. Excellent. I need another cup of coffee. Yeah, it's just a few seconds. Actually, that skip is pretty much nothing. We're in the freak show now. But yeah, we need to actually go to, well, there's two ways to do it. If we weren't to have bought the another Amulet of Annihilation there during Nobilia and the market, we'd have to actually go all the way up to Lance's house, and there's one in the chest, but it's extremely out of the way. It costs quite a bit of time, so. This is cutscene gauntlet, so any announcements now is like perfect time. If you have any.
Alright, I do have one other bid war. I can bring up the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Time. There's a bid war that's doing pretty okay between which turtle will be played. Right now, Raph is in the lead with $105. Don not too far behind with $84.99. Unfortunately, no love for Leo or the actually best turtle, Mike. So definitely get those donations in. I would love to see some more love for my boy Mikey. He's the best turtle. Like, why would you not want to play as him?
Agreed. Go, Don, go.
Donatello's pretty okay. I'd be willing to accept Donatello.
Donatello is the purple one, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, vote Don all day. Purple best color, so. He's also a genius, so I think that always kind of appealed to me too. He's smart.
It's true.
So yeah, Trouble, favorable pig, but you know, our pig poodle instead actually wins the pig race because, I don't know. As people in this time didn't really know what a poodle looked like. So. It's not like anything super in-depth to explain here, other than I'm going to skip like 15 minutes worth of stuff by running down. That was actually a little scary. I saw the boy's animation for running up a little bit. But if we were to just sit there in that dialogue, after that dialogue ends and just continue normally, there's a big long cutscene that happens and a giant maze we have to go through with the dog. But by just running down, we actually sequence break all that, which is beautiful. So that saves us it saves us several minutes. I'm not sure exactly how much. I think probably like close to 15 minutes of gameplay though. That's pretty good. Yeah, these guys can be pretty trolly, and they are beautiful. I love it. So that's good old Evermore for you. Let's get blocked up. It could have went way worse, but so there's a cool quick kill strat here. Hopefully we'll get... Yeah. So, like I tried to do with Megator there earlier, this one's way more important. But by attacking up, we kind of just keep him in place, which is very useful. Because if we were not able to kill him right there, he would actually run all over the map. And he's a pretty elusive guy, so we do not want that to happen. Ooh, alright. So we're going to sit... We are not going to use our wings. We will later, and I'll explain why. But those guys can block us really badly, and we got really lucky. It's pretty good. So yeah, now this queen that we would have normally otherwise met, we just get a little cutscene, little taste of what she's about. Saying some mean stuff, but it's all good. I'm just gonna ignore her. Now we have the dark forest maze. There's a lot of tight navigation. If you don't know exactly where you're going, this place can be pretty confusing. I know exactly where I'm going, and I still hate this screen because of things like that. And these dragon guys can be pretty evil. They like to block you real bad. But the screen is just very dark, and the corners that you need to take, like to do it optimally and enter each screen as fast as possible, is not the easiest thing to do. I just try to get lucky, not blocked, and hopefully get all the quick screen transitions that you can. It's pretty easy to lose time here, though, if you're trying to be real quick. Just getting blocked once and not like just slightly not paying attention will start to cost you seconds, and you'll feel real silly. But that's the first half. Boom, just like that. This is the Dark Link of Evermore. We got a fighter in our demons here. And these guys are usually pretty easy. Just the first guy dodged quite a bit, but that actually doesn't really happen. If you've ever played this game by this point, you're actually probably pretty strong, so these guys are usually a pushover even in casual. Switch back to the spear because it's fast. And make our way through the second part. And there's gonna be some fun stuff coming up soon. I should make a headphone warning. If you have headphones, probably gonna want to either turn them down real low in a little bit or take your headphones off. It's gonna be some pretty disturbing noises though. Not yet. I'll let you know when it comes a little bit closer to that, but just putting a disclaimer out there for anybody listening. Don't want to cause any eardrum issues. It's gonna be some what faces though. It's definitely a what face moment. So this is the first dragon. Just like that, destroyed. He can sit up in the top left corner. Him being down low there is the best, ideally, because we can just keep him against the wall and do our thing. He gives us another spear. It's cool, we don't have to change. So headphone warning incoming. Oh wait, no, I forgot. All right, so this is the skip. this is the part of the skip. So this is why we need the wings. Just make our way back here after entering that. Oh yeah, I gotta go down. That's right. And the wings again. And on we go. Or off we go. Something like that. So I'm gonna use wings here so that these guys don't block us. I think it's best to use the wings on the way up, personally, because they're usually a little bit more trolly on the way up, I feel like. So now we're gonna... Now, by entering that sewer, we've actually unlock that bridge. Normally we would have to go through a bunch of other stuff, like a village thing, and then fight another boss and stuff, but we just skipped that boss entirely and opened the bridge. Now we're in the other castle. Cool. So, the other boss actually is below us, and we could enter the room, but by entering the room, we'll just be stuck in a bunch of boxes. Boss won't be there, we can't defeat him, we can't get rid of the boxes, and we're just stuck. Yeah, don't do that. Now we meet our boy Tinker. He's extremely useful in this game. Just like Donatello, he's actually a genius and an inventor. So, vote Donatello, purple best color. And we meet the real queen, or the nice queen, I guess. She's also from Podunk. Podunk, that's right. Yeah, the way Verminator skip works is very weird. It has a tendency to crash a lot of consoles. So if you don't have a SNES Junior, which is the revision that Nintendo did, it's one of the original SNES consoles, but it's a revision that Nintendo did, like how they have all the smaller versions of all the consoles, like top loader for the NES or the small PS2 or something. And without that version, there's a big chance that doing the skip will actually crash your game. So you want to make sure you have a newer SNES model. What's the room? Graphical glitches. That's interesting and kind of good to know. So this game does have a lot of weird issues that seem to vary, but depending on the console or whoever. I've heard a few instances the game just randomly crashing right here at this cutscene. I've never experienced it, fortunately enough, but I guess people with other Super Nintendos have had that trouble before in the past. This game is actually very easy to break if you, even casually, you might just not know what you're doing and do something and the game will freeze. So it's a pretty broken game. So Tinker lets us listen through his telescope, his mighty telescope that we just happen to be able to listen through. And we see that the queen is bad, and now we have to make our way back over there. Like, man, she's a mean lady. We need to grab that axe first for some more destroying of walls and such. So yeah, headphone advisory coming up now. If you have headphones, loud noises are about to happen, weird things, yeah. And that's Verminator skip. See, no more weird noises. The weird noises are over. But that saved us like a whole minute. So that's pretty cool. Also, it saved us a lot of agony too, because as long as you're guaranteed the skip, it's much safer. In the marathon route, or not a marathon route, I mean in like a PB attempt or whatever, without using the skip, there's actually a very big chance that you won't have enough spell cast to even kill him. So you want to reduce your purchasing, so you only buy enough to just barely kill him, and if your damage rolls are too low, then it's rip. So this is Probably this is absolutely one of the scariest parts of the game, or the run. Is a lot, as you see, a lot of dragons that love blocking you, just like the sniffets, as I like to call them. They're bone buzzards, but they make a weird sniffing noise like the dog, so I call them sniffets. And the evil dragon. This guy is pretty evil. A lot of things he can do that we don't want. He grabbed us because we missed. Don't have enough call beads to do the safe thing, though, unfortunately. He missed again! No, dude. So we don't want him to throw us. That's really bad. Loses a lot of time. And also, if you come back up and kill him immediately after doing that, stop grabbing me, dude, please. Please stop grabbing me. This game is being really mean to me right now. So yeah, we can't kill him immediately after. Otherwise, the game will soft lock. Stop missing, please. Oh, thank goodness. That was really, really, really bad. It was like 3 misses. Yeah, I do a really risky strat there that relies on decent RNG by not using a call bead. What we could do is cast a spell called Hypnotize, which would stun him, and he wouldn't move, and he wouldn't cast spells on us, so it makes the fight super free. But I actually didn't even think to grab the call bead, so kind of my bad. He normally doesn't troll you that badly, but this was just really, really, really unlucky. So this guy is like, hold on, don't beat my dragon up, he's a good dragon. And then we stopped beating the dragon up, and he's like, alright, I'll give you a ride back to the tower, because I'm actually Tinker's brother, and I'm cool too, so yeah, alright. Cool. So in this spot here is another spot that we could actually die. So if you were to just sit here AFK, you'll just sit in the corrosion and slowly wither away. Seen people do it casually. It's pretty interesting. So for the most part, all the difficult and scary stuff is pretty much over now. Sterling is, well, that's actually not really true, but Sterling is, he's a pretty mean dragon. Unlike the first dragon that we encountered, that guy can cause quite a few issues. So now she actually talks to us, and since we skipped all that dialogue by performing Banquet Skip, and she's like, can you go do all this stuff that you already did? Because your sequence broke the game. And I'm like, sure. Or something like that. I don't really remember how it goes, actually. This has been so long. I think she might actually tell you to go this way. And she's like, oh yeah, go this way and do that or whatever. I'm like, sure. And she's like, haha, debated. I actually have a big evil Mongolian here. This is the guy from the freak show that was not in the window there. I got debated, unfortunately. You can also, yes, so you can also have infinite ammo in this game. Sorry, I just noticed that comment. If you get 2 forms of weaponry from the bazooka, and you can like skip. Oh, I got the big cutscene RNG! Oh, this is the worst. This is actually the worst RNG that you can possibly get. So, as I mentioned earlier with the cutscene RNG, It can happen there, where the pathing is just like, alright, I'm gonna walk all the way around. And it can happen with all the characters. And that one costs the most time. I haven't seen that one in a very long time. So it's pretty... I'm glad it happened now. Because, I mean, it's always cool to happen in a marathon. If that happened on a PB run, that would be pretty sad. But that's what happens. This game is so well designed that they're just like, oh yeah, so you enter this cutscene and then just there's a bunch of random stuff that can happen. It's just in the code. There's no reason for it. It's just how it goes. So now we have to make our way back to the other castle so we can get the rest of the... We need some stuff so we can leave. We want to get back to Podunk. That's the goal. We gotta do some stuff. Do the thing, you know what I mean? So hopefully we won't get trolled. Cause there's a little bit of RNG kind of. Not oh yeah, I forgot to let go of sniff. I only held sniff at the very end. But that's why you don't hold sniff on that screen. Because that's what I was talking about by the dog getting called in. If I was to hold sniff the entire time from the very start, he would be all the way at the start, slowly just walk out of bounds on screen, and it would be really slow. You want to hold diagonal while you're walking up and down stairs because it makes you walk faster for whatever reason. Shoutouts to raids. The boy's trying to get his cardio in. He didn't do enough running all over the place, so. But yeah, something about the bazooka. It's like if you don't get the other, there's two different ammunitions. If you don't get one of the ammunitions, it just gives you the other shot, and you actually have infinite bullets. It's pretty much programmed in the game. I guess I didn't have a whole lot of beta testing going on. So this guy tells us he can help us get back to Podunk. He has an idea, but he needs some parts. And one of the parts being where we did the super scary skip in Act 2. So we actually don't have to go get that. Otherwise, we would have to go get that. And that's takes a lot of time. So that's nice little stuff there. Good stuff. I want to make our way up this evil mountain. This is the mountain now, or volcano that I was talking about earlier, actually. If we were squishy and not invulnerable, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here. So there's a neat little tech there that was discovered by my boy Solar Cell 007. He found out that by switching to the dog, because the dog is super slow, by switching to the dog onto the plate, we can actually loot. So we can't normally loot things with the dog, but for whatever reason, we can open this pot with the dog. This chest, and that's actually exactly what we need. So. But by switching to the dog and putting him into the trigger rather than the boy, it saves us, I think, like a second and a half. And we have to make our way back here again. So, overall, same like 3 seconds. Pretty cool. Yeah, this game has a lot of really neat perks and stuff and weird things that happen, even casually. Which makes for an interesting game playthrough. I am OTBH. We're gonna make our way back to Tinker, give him the gauge that we got. There's a super duper difficult trick here that it's like a frame perfect character switch while talking to the guy that nobody goes for, but I'm just gonna go for it because why not? This is why nobody does it. I was in the trigger. Oh, I'm gonna do it again. Why not? I got it this time. Nah, I missed it. Alright, so yeah, it kind of relies on where he is. If he moves down, it's unfortunate, but we want to talk to him as we're doing the screen transition. And then we give him the ingredient, or I guess they're kind of like ingredients, they're not really. Give him the parts, as we're fading out. And if you do it really quick, you can save like 6 seconds, but it's super hard to do and it relies kind of on RNG. But no big deal really. It's not like it lost that much time, so not detrimental to the pace. Still killing it, still super strong, feeling good. Alright, and the wings, that's what I wanted to explain. So with the wings, the reason I'm using the wings here, even though I'm not teleporting out of a dungeon, is because it says nothing happened, or it didn't work, but it actually did. Nobody's able to target us. Very nice. These raptors would block us like crazy, destroy our dog, and since we need the dog to be up here, it's kind of monka, so. I'll loot the chest here again, and the reason being, what is this? Oh, it's another gauge. Why'd you get another gauge, you ask? Well, the reason is the game doesn't care which parts you get, just as long as you have 3. So he's like, oh, you got 2 gauges? Alright, that works. I'll make it happen. Otherwise, we'd normally have to go and fight this other boss who's pretty strong, takes a lot of time to beat, a lot of health. It's pretty beefy. It's like Thrax 3.0, Cleopatra. Another time, Cleopatra. So, and do a little neat, interesting skip here, where we're gonna just kind of, and then crash our thing into the water. Whoa! But we're here. So we get to skip the little landing animation and just start running immediately. That's pretty cool. So whatever reason, the developers had this spot in mind, I guess. Or actually, I have no idea why that happened. I think it was intended to be used for another spot, and loose data got put there or whatever. So if you're doing that casually, you can actually soft lock your game. If you don't have the parts, and then you save afterwards, after doing that, there's no way to get your Windwalker back. It is gone for good. And that's Act 3. So now we're on the final part of the game. It's pretty exciting stuff here. And also, everybody's favorite best dog, Toaster Dog. Oh yeah. So we're gonna use Toaster Dog to our advantage. He's got this ability. He didn't make the barking noise, which is weird. I've never seen that before. He goes like burp burp when you make a joke about him. So Toaster Dog is really cool. He can infinitely he's the fastest in the game, always. And it doesn't matter if his energy is depleted, he can just always be fast, which is pretty useful. So, enter the salute. Okay. That's unfortunate. Get So, we'd normally have to go through a bunch of stuff and then get there, but by putting them on the salute that we would enter and just doing some frame perfect stuff. So pressing B and then switching character immediately on the next frame or something like that allows us to call the boy into opening it or something like that. I don't know. Normally there's these bombs down low that get shot at us and you see them exploding, and we'd have to hit them up to destroy those vents, but because Toaster Dog is so fast, we can just put him up in the corner and it calls the boy into the spot, whereas those fans would normally push him back otherwise. It's a pretty intense boss rush here. Not much to say other than hopefully I don't miss a lot, because things will run around and yeah, we don't want them to run on. We want them to stay stun locked by our spear. There, take that. I got some metal raptors, some metal, everything's metal. Everything's robotic and metal here. Truth comes out. It's cold world. But we want to try to keep the enemies essentially stun locked in a good position. We don't want to kill the Hoover vacuum, because if we do, it'll cause a bunch more to spawn, and or these metal spiders to spawn, and it's slow, bad, and the metal spiders have a lot of defense and health. So let's try to avoid them as much as possible for now. And then the metal Rimzalas. These guys are much eviler than the first one that you saw earlier. And this is what the first one would actually do if we didn't sequence break his animation in the beginning there. Oh, the toaster dog died, which is unfortunate, but oh yeah, now we want to kill him actually. Now we kill him. Keep this dog in position here, like along this line. And that allows these spawns to... I messed up. Alright, that's not bad. So this guy has like the highest evasion rate ever, and I am getting the best RNG we'll ever get. Not a single miss. That's absolutely insane. I want to kill that Hoover guy first, actually. And the spider to reduce some lag. I'm pretty sure it would happen even if you didn't kill him. Stay down there to avoid the explosions to reduce lag, and then just swing away. Gotta destroy everything. The Metal Magmar has a lot of health. If you've ever played this game casually, he's pretty evil. And then we got Carltron's robot. We want to try to bring him essentially over to the left here, if we can, as much as possible, because it reduces the explosions on the left side here. Timing's gonna come up in a second here in the last hit. Alright. And that's Secret Evermore. He will jump quite a bit, and that's no good, but they got pretty good RNG in the final boss rush, so that's nice. Cool.
Nice run.
Thank you. And, yeah. So now there's a little cutscene here. Carltron gets turned off. The good professor comes up and he's like, "Hey, you know what? I came to my senses. I'm gonna turn you off. You're evil. Why are you controlling me like this?" And we're like, "Word. We just want to get back to Podunk. Can we just get back to Podunk? Come on." "Yeah, Professor." And then he's like, "Alright, you know what? You helped me out. I was possessed by my evil robot. I think I can help you." And there's gonna be lots of explosions as well, because, you know, it's almost like Michael Bay wrote this game. It's pretty cool. Explosions make everything better. Yeah, the spiders blow up, Magmar blows up, Vigor blows up, and then beat the game, and then everything blows up, and it's great. Yeah, we love it. So everybody loves the explosions. Fireworks, good stuff.